I'm Ashley and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be doing a cozy reading vlog of this book, A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle Jensen. And this is an adult romantasy book, and I have read some books by Danielle Jensen before. I read 2 books in the Bridge Kingdom series, and I really enjoyed those, so I do have high hopes for this one. And I actually started this earlier today, and I have made it to page 69, chapter 7. And so far it is living up to my expectations and I'm enjoying it. So this book takes place in a Viking-inspired world where our main character is 20-year-old Freya. And Freya is married but is a loveless marriage, and her husband is a horrible person. And she only puts up with her husband for the well-being of her mother and brother. And even the villagers don't really like her husband, but everyone puts up with him because of the magic that he has. And in this world, people can be born with the bloods of the gods, and that gives them certain magical abilities. And Freya's husband has the ability to call sea creatures, so he can make like fish just come out of the ocean. And he used his magic to save their village 10 years ago from starvation when their crops failed, so everyone looks at him as a hero, or at least they did, because now he is just greedy and selfish and a horrible person. And Freya herself also has the blood of gods in her veins. She has the power of the Shield Maiden, but she can't tell anyone about her power because her father freaked out when her power manifested and told her that she cannot tell anyone because if she did, it would ruin her life. So only her father knew. He's now dead though. Her mother knows and her brother knows. And that's it. However, despite her father's warnings, she ends up practicing her magic in secret. And unfortunately, during one of those times, her husband discovers her using her magic, and then he uses that knowledge to sell her out to the leader of their people. He essentially sells her away for gold. And the leader of their people wants Freya because of a prophecy that says that the Shield Maiden will unite their people and their lands. So he ends up marrying her, but he has a son named Bjorn who is our love interest. And Freya and Bjorn first meet by accident when they don't really know who the other is. And just like their banter already and their chemistry is already great. And so where I left off in the story, the leader of their people has just told his son, Bjorn, that he has to protect Freya, that it is God-given duty to protect Freya. That's where I ended off. So far, I am really enjoying this book. It started off really fast-paced, and exciting things already started to happen at the very beginning that already made me pulled into the story and invested, and I was already glued to the pages and didn't want to put the book down. And as I mentioned earlier, the romantic tension between Freya and Bjorn is already there, and it's already sizzling, and I already feel invested in them as a couple, and I can't wait to see how their relationship progresses. And one other thing of this book that I'm really enjoying so far is the world building and the magic. I just really love getting to see all these different gods and getting to see what powers they all have. And so those are all my thoughts for now because I'm not very far in. But as I said, I'm very much enjoying this book so far, and I think it definitely has the potential to be a favorite read of mine and to be a 5-star, but we shall see. So I will be back with more thoughts and an update once I've read some more. Hi, so it's the next day and I'm back with a reading update for this book. So I am now a little more than halfway through. I am on chapter 21, page 237. And I did end up going on a walk yesterday because it was so nice out. So I ended up downloading the audiobook. And I highly recommend the audiobook. I really like the narrator and her accent, and I think it really adds to the whole atmosphere of the story. So if you like audiobooks, I definitely recommend checking out the audiobook for this book. So far I still am really enjoying the story, though it hasn't quite reached the love level for me yet. There just really hasn't been anything that has like really blown me away or amazed me yet about the story. That being said, this book has been a really solid romantasy read so far, and it does a really good job of giving our main character Freya and her love interest Bjorn scenes alone together where you can just feel the romantic tension between the two of them. But you also have that obstacle where because of their positions they can't really be together. However, the book does find a way around that at one point. So far there has been one slightly steamy scene. And also there are some very cute and tender moments between the two of them as well. And along with these like romantic scenes, there's also been plenty of action as well that keeps the plot and the book moving along at a brisk pace, so there's no time for boredom. And also before my earlier update, I mentioned the magic system and how I found it interesting, and we have gotten to see more of that, and we've gotten to see more people have different abilities. And then I don't think I mentioned it before, but Bjorn also has a magical ability, and his magical ability is really cool because it lets him summon an axe that is on fire, and he can summon it just out of thin air, and then he can throw it at an enemy and then it'll come right back to him, which I think is really cool. And now that I'm thinking about it, it reminds me kind of Thor. And there has also been more exploration into Freya's magical abilities as well. And I've also enjoyed learning more about her magic and how it works. And there's also kind of this whole mystery like going on behind her magic, because her magic is just from a minor god, but there is this huge prophecy about it and how whoever is in control of her magic will be the ruler of the lands. And Freya is just wondering this whole time, like, why me? Why is everyone so interested in my magic when, well, it's just from a minor god? And also the gods themselves also seem to be very interested and invested in her as well. Also, another thing that I want to mention is in this book there's this whole idea of fate, and apparently everyone's fate is determined except for the individuals who have the blood of gods in their veins. And it said that these people can rewrite fate and rewrite their own history, which I find that to be very interesting because Freya has the blood of gods in her veins, and so does Bjorn, so they can pretty much change fate. So I really like Bjorn and Freya's characters so far. I think they have had really good development so far. But I kind of feel like minor characters haven't really stuck out to me yet. Like, there's been mentions of some, but I don't really feel attached or invested in any of them. And actually, I kind of don't like two of them. And the two I don't like are Bjorn's father and his wife. I just don't like them, and the more I read about them, the more I don't like them. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now with this. I am really enjoying it. I'm hoping I will continue to enjoy it, which I probably will. I don't see myself not enjoying the rest of this. The only question is, will I end up loving it? Which I will let you know, because my next update will be when I finish this. Hi, so I know I just did an update, but I had to come back on here because I just read chapter 24, and there was romantic developments in this chapter that were just so good, that like grabbed my heart. Page 275. Page 275 is just everything. There's a scene between Freya and Bjorn, and just, I loved it so much. My heart is happy, but also a little sad. But it was just such a good scene. And now I feel like the romance has stepped it up to 5-star level. And also, I know I just mentioned about the minor characters that I wasn't really feeling them much, wasn't really feeling much of connection to them. However, they just introduced a couple chapters ago another minor character name. I don't know if I'm going to say this correct because I haven't heard it in the audiobook yet, but it's Bodo. I could be saying that completely wrong. But she is a woman leader of one of the other clans. And she joins up with Freya's clan. And I'm really liking her as a minor character. She hasn't been around that much, but I already feel like I feel more of a connection to her than any of the other minor characters so far. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I'm gonna put this down now and switch over to audiobook. because I want to make some cookies. Hi, so it's now Monday, March 18th, and I know I said my next update would be when I finish the book, but I have not finished the book yet. Last night I made it to page 360, and I'm on chapter 32, and I only have 40 pages left. And I was going to finish this morning, but I haven't yet, because I am mad at this book. And I am mad, and I can't continue on because I'm mad, so I thought maybe if I come on here and vent, that'll make me feel better, and then I can finish the last 40 pages of this. So, my problem is Freya. I really like her as a character, but I've noticed that there's one particular trait of hers that gets on my nerves, and that is her stubbornness. Now, stubbornness can be good, it can be bad. And it is treading towards the bad side because she's becoming so stubborn that she's just throwing common sense out the window and letting her stubbornness blind her. And this already happened a couple of times, and the last time it had happened, something really bad happened because she was just being stupidly stubborn, and you'd think she would learn from that. But now, again, she's doing the same thing again. She's being stupidly stubborn about something, and I'm like 90% certain that she is wrong, and the one other character in this book, Bjorn, is trying to make her see reason, but she won't listen to him, and he's like the one character that actually cares about her, but she won't listen. She's just being blinded by stubbornness and rage, and now she's going to do something, and she thinks a certain person is doing a certain something, but I think she is wrong. But she's like, oh, there's no other person it could be. And I'm like, actually, if you stop and think for a moment, there is one other person that it could be. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I still think that it's going to be that other person that she is just forgetting about because she is blinded by her stubbornness and her rage and won't listen to reason. And I think because of her stubbornness and rage, something really bad is going to happen again, and it's just going to be 100% her fault, and it's very frustrating that she is acting this way. So yeah, that's why I have not finished the last 40 pages of this book, because I am a little mad at Freya right now. But after saying all that, I do feel a little bit better, so I am going to try to bring myself to finish these last 40 pages and just push through my anger and frustrations. Hi, so I am back, and I have finished A Fate Inked in Blood, so I am here to give my final thoughts and a little review on this book. So I am going to use the CAWPILE rating system to review this book, and CAWPILE was a rating system invented by another booktuber, Book Roast, so I will link her video down below if you want to know more about CAWPILE. But basically, each of the 7 letters in CAWPILE stand for a different element in the book, and each of those elements gets rated 1 through 10, and then at the end you add all those numbers up and you divide by 7, and that gets you back to your 5-star rating system. So we're going to start with C, and first we're going to talk about the characters in this book. So first, our main character is 20-year-old Freya, and at the beginning, I really liked her because she was strong, independent, and cared a lot about her family. But then as I read more of the book, she's kind of started to annoy me a little bit. And especially the last 50 pages of the book, I got so mad at her because of this character trait that she has where she can be really stubborn, and that can be a good thing. It could also be a really bad thing, and I talked about this a little bit in my last update. And I just didn't like how she becomes so stubborn at sometimes that her stubbornness and her anger would just cloud her judgment and common sense, and she wouldn't listen to anyone. And I could see this happening once or twice, but it happened a couple times, and then one of those times something really bad happened because of her being too stubborn, and you think she would learn from this, but then at near the end she does the same thing all over again, and it's just really frustrating. And I also feel that at the end of the book some things are revealed, and I can kind of understand why she reacts the way she does, but again, I think she overreacts. And again, she won't listen to anyone. Like, someone's trying to explain stuff to her and tell her reasons, you're just like, nope, I'm not gonna listen. Nope, I don't want to hear it. And that bothers me, like, not just in this book, but in any books, when characters just won't listen, and if they maybe just stopped and listened, it would solve so many problems. Overall, I liked her as a character. I thought she was a good character, but I had some problems with her. On the other side, Bjorn, who is a love interest for her, I loved him so much. I would say that Freya as a character, if I had to rate her out of 1 from 10, she'd probably get like a 6.5. But Bjorn, he gets a 10 all the way. So I loved his character so much. I loved how he had like the axe that would light on fire and that he could summon from anywhere, and he could throw it and it would come back to him like Thor's hammer. And yes, he was like strong, tough man, but he was also cared deeply for Freya and just wanted her to be happy. And also, unlike Freya, he actually stops and thinks things through more, and he doesn't see the world like in black and white. I feel like Freya has this problem where she really sees the world in black and white, and that's where she gets herself in trouble. Whereas Bjorn doesn't. He sees it more in terms of gray and understands how complicated things can be. And I really like that about him because his character has more layers. And I feel like Freya, she could probably get there. Hopefully she'll learn that the world isn't so black and white. And I feel like she kind of started to learn that in this book with her family, because she's like willing to sacrifice anything for her family because they're her family, which at first it's like, yeah, that's a really good trait to have because of your family, but also you learn after that Freya's family isn't that great, so it's like, should she really be giving them the loyalty that she is giving them? And she kind of like starts to figure that out, but then after she kind of like just reverses that thought and goes back to her old self of just being like, no, they're my family, so I have to protect them even if they treat me like garbage. But anyways, love Bjorn as a character. And then for minor characters, there was one minor character that I really liked, and I was excited because they got introduced after I felt like none of the minor characters were really sticking with me or making an impression on me that much. But then also at the end, I feel like her character was kind of used as a plot device, which I kind of didn't like. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. But I still really liked her character. Minor characters that stood out the most were Bjorn's father, who is the leader of their clan and ends up marrying Freya because she's the shield maiden, and the prophecy that whoever controls her will unite the lands and become king. Him, I did not like him at all. I feel like I haven't hated a character so much in a long time. He was greedy. He would like bend words and situations to get what he wanted, and I just didn't like him. And then his wife, I didn't like her very much in the beginning, but I feel like by the end I actually liked her and I have some respect for her. So the characters overall, I'm giving them a 7 out of 10. And then atmosphere, I am giving a 6 because I thought the atmosphere was good, but it wasn't like amazing. So this book takes place in a Viking-inspired world, and you can see that with just how the clans are always constantly invading each other and fighting, like they act like Vikings. And also the magic in this book is centered around the Norse gods, and I really like the magic in this book. And how the magic works is if you are born with a drop of a god's blood, then you will have a certain ability. So that's why Freya is a shield maiden. That's why Bjorn can materialize an axe that lights up on fire. And then someone else is a child of Thor, so they can use lightning. And I think the addition of this magic system made the battles even more fun and interesting to read about. But overall, I'm only giving it a 6 because I feel like the book doesn't really go into depth about the world building. It kind of explains it, and you kind of just fill in the rest with what you already know about Viking culture, which I think is perfectly fine because this book is a romantasy, so ultimately it is more about the romance than the world building. And next is writing. And I really like Danielle Jensen's writing style. I think it's easy to read, smooth, and it flows very well. And also she is very good at writing banter between characters as well. So the writing style, I'm giving an 8. And then next for plot. The plot was that Freya is a shield maiden and she has kept this a secret, but then people finally find out and the leader of her clan takes her as his wife because of a prophecy that says that the shield maiden will unite the lands and whoever controls her will become king. And I think the plot was executed well, and also this is a romantasy, so the plot and the romance are entwined. And the romance in this book, I thought the romance was excellent. The romance gets a 10 out of 10. I loved reading the romance so much. The banter, the yearning, and the tension and the romance were all excellent. The build-up of the relationship and the romance had me completely invested and helped me keep flipping the pages. And I think the book also did a really good job of balancing those romantic scenes along with action scenes, and that kept like the plot moving along as well, so I never found myself bored. Which leads us to the next element, which is intrigue. So intrigue I am giving a 9 because I was never bored because of the action and the romantic scenes. In case you're wondering, there are cute romance scenes and there are also some spicier scenes as well. So next is logic, which I'm giving an 8 because I feel like the plot flowed very well. But there were a few instances, like I mentioned, that character who I think was used kind of as a plot device that wasn't my favorite thing. And also Freya and some of her reactions. I think the way she acts drives the plot along a little bit too, and sometimes I don't like the way she acts. And then for enjoyment, I'm giving this book an 8 because overall I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was a very fun read. And I love the romance aspect of it. The romance between Bjorn and Freya gets a 10 out of 10 easily for me. That was my favorite part of the book, was seeing their romance develop. I am only giving it an 8 because Freya's actions did frustrate me a little bit and get in the way of my enjoyment, especially near the end. And overall, I thought the beginning of the book was really strong and the end was really strong. And the middle was good, enjoyable. But it was really the scene where Bjorn and Freya finally confessed their feelings to each other that made me completely invested in their romance. And then the way the book ended, I liked the ending, and there is a revelation that makes me want to continue into the next book because I was kind of thinking towards the end when Freya was really frustrating me that I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can read the next book because she is really frustrating me right now. But the way it ended makes me want to read the second book because I need to know some answers to some questions I have. And I do still feel invested in Bjorn and Freya's relationship as well. I'm just hoping that in the next book, Freya is less frustrating. And overall, I would definitely recommend this book. I would say I would recommend this for people who are romantasy readers and who are looking for more of a romance than a plot, although this does do a good job with balancing action scenes and romantic scenes. And while there are some steamy scenes, the book isn't like full of them, so this might be a good book for people who like some steam, but not like the whole book being steam. And that pretty much wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, please give it a like or even subscribe. Because if you are a fantasy romance fan, I do plan on reading some more fantasy romance. And in the next couple of months, I do plan on reading these 2 books, To Kill Shadow and Sanctuary of the Shadow, and doing a reading vlog on them. So keep a lookout for that video if you are interested in knowing more about these 2 or hearing my thoughts about these 2. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and until next time, bye!